The national budget has been ratified and transmitted to the Office of the President today. And sa Senate, ang mga bumoto against the 2026 national budget ay si Senator Marcoleta, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Bongo, Senator Padilla, and Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Limang senador ang nag-vote against the budget. Rizzo Ontiveros, who traditionally bilang part ng oposisyon ay hindi bumoboto in favor of the budget, bumoto. Okay? Sa House of Representatives, I think yung makabayad block, no? Kasi traditionally, di naman talaga bumoboto yan in favor of the budget eh. Kasi nga opposition daw sila, ganyan. But ang confirm ko na hindi nagboto sa in favor of the 2026 national budget are Leila de Lima and Gabriela party list, sila Sara Elago. Ayan. Tapos, of course, Congressman Ungab and Congressman Paulo Duterte also voted no. Ayan. Hindi ko alam yung kung si Attorney si Kong Harold at saka si Kong Omar Duterte also voted against the national budget, ano. But I reckon they would also not vote for the budget. So nag-yes yung ibang minority sa Senado, it looks like it. Loren Legarda voted, hindi naman siya part ng minority, pero si Loren Legarda vote yes but with reservations. So yon, okay. I would just like to dun sa mga nag-no, mga prominent individuals na nag-no, let us read their statement. Let's talk about read their statements kung bakit sila hindi nagboto ng yes. Ayan, katulad ni Kong Sid Ungab. Ayan, okay. So, ito yung statement ni Kong Ungab. Ito yung reasons niya kung bakit hindi siya nag-vote ng yes sa budget. Ayan. Explanation on negative vote on the ratification of the BICAM report for fiscal year 2026 General Appropriations Bill. Dear Speaker D, I vote no on the approval and ratification of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the fiscal year 2026 national budget for the following reasons. Okay. First, the BICAM committee is purely legislative exercise between the House and the Senate. However, the BICAM allowed the intervention of the executive branch, particularly the Secretary of DPWH, si Vince Dizon. While there was an admission of errors on the computation of the construction materials price data, the revised matrix was never projected or presented during deliberations. Hence, there is no assurance that the recomputed list of projects is accurate or that the totals correctly foot. What happens if errors are discovered again later on? Furthermore, the BICAM assures the public that the 2026 DPWH budget is now insulated from corruption. That remains to be seen. Only actual program implementation will confirm whether transparency and accountability are achieved. It should also be noted that certain agencies such as the National Irrigation Administration and the Department of Transportation were still permitted to introduce additional budget requests during BICAM. Despite reservation from some members of such late-stage insertion should be prohibited beyond the National Expenditure Program level or at most at the plenary stage due to unforeseen circumstances. Kong Ungab is taking the position na wala na dapat insertion, wala na dapat dagdag bawas sa budget. Wala na dapat dagdag sa budget kapag ka nasa BICAM na. At dapat, kung ano lang ang pupwede, yung NEP level, kung meron mang madadagdag dyan, NEP level, kung ano lang yung nandun sa NEP. Yung siguro tinanggal during the plenary, ganyan. So, pagdating sa BICAM, kung meron kayo ibabalik dyan, dapat yung nag-a-appear sa NEP. It should not be something that is alien to the NEP. And I agree with that, Agree ako dyan sa sinasabi ni Kong Ungab na yan. Ayan, okay? Second, despite repeated calls to cut allocation for foreign assisted project, despite repeated calls not to cut allocation for the foreign assisted projects, the BICAM nonetheless approved substantial reduction, particularly in the budgets of the DPWH and DOTR. Based on the third reading copy of the Senate version, the DPWH foreign assisted project budget was slashed from the revised level of 70 billion to only 17 billion, roughly 25% of the original amount, representing a drastic reduction of 52.3 billion. From the NEP level of 100 billion, this means a total cut of 82.3 billion overall. So ang natirang budget na lang for the foreign assisted projects is 17.7 billion. And nangyari, yung malaking cut, yung 70 billion, after noong BICAM deliberation. Original na budget for the foreign assisted project is 100 billion. Yun yung nakalagay sa NEP. Until it is further reduction during the deliberation and ultimately after ng BICAM. Not BICAM, third reading. Similarly, major transport projects under the DOTR suffered deep reduction. The Metro Manila Subway Project, originally budgeted at 45.3 billion, was cut by 24.9 billion, 55.1, leaving only 20.4 billion. Okay? The North-South Commuter Railway System, which has a NEP allocation of 76 billion, was reduced to 47.3 billion, leaving a balance of 28.8 billion. These massive cuts will inevitably delay strategic infrastructure projects critical to national economic recovery and urban mobility. So what does that mean? Ibig sabihin, we cannot expect completion of the projects ng mga mass transportation system natin. Ayan. And I don't know why, Bakit hindi nila priority ito? Ayan. Okay? And again, yung dito sa yung foreign assisted project, ito yung nirereklamo na rin. Consistent si Kong Ungab dito eh. Yung sinasabi niya na, ang problem kasi, pagka foreign assisted project, pagkatapos hindi mo pinopondohan, itong mga foreign assisted projects na to, more or less, nag-agree na yung nag-agree na yung country na mag-e-extend sa atin ng loan eh. So yung counterpart na responsibility na lang yung hinihintay natin dito. And usually, kapag foreign assisted project na, less yung chances, less yung space for corruption. Kasi nga there is another country who is going to look at those projects. Kasi syempre, pautang nila yun eh. 'Di ba? So, kumbaga sila, maglalagay talaga sila ng mga measures in place in order to ensure na kung magpa-fund sila ng project dito sa Pilipinas, hindi yun makukorrupt. Ang problem dito sa gobyerno na to, ayaw nila ng mga ganyan. Ayaw nila ng mga projects na wala silang cut. Kaya ayaw nila ng foreign assisted projects. Yan naman talaga yan eh. Yan talaga yan. Okay? So ngayon, yung explanation din ni Kong Ungab dito in the past is kapag a foreign assisted project kasi, less yung space for corruption, and at the same time, foreign assisted projects would have extensive feasibility study. So ibig sabihin, itong mga project na to, pinag-aralan, hindi to yung ura-urada lang. So ibig sabihin, itong mga projects na to, these are the projects that are really, really viable. At ito talaga, yung need talaga, yung kailangan talaga ng bansa. Ganon. So, ayaw kasi ng gobyerno ni Bongbong Marcos nang walang kupit. Sir, the unprogrammed appropriations remain at an alarming 243.4 billion, only slightly lower than the NEP level of 250 billion. While the strengthening assistance of government infrastructure and social programs, SAGIP for fund amounting to 80.8 billion was removed, new items were simply inserted or realigned within the unprogrammed funds, unprogrammed appropriations. Notably, 35.7 billion was again added under government counterpart for foreign assisted projects, a repetition of a long-standing practice where program funds under FAPs are stripped and exported to the unprogrammed appropriations. Another 43.2 billion was introduced under payment and personnel benefits. This term may serve as a standby cover for shortfalls in personal services requirements, especially since the miscellaneous personal benefits fund and pension and gratuity funds suffered significant reduction of 34.4 billion and 32.4 billion respectively. This fund shifting undermines budget transparency and creates fiscal uncertainty. Finally, I remain unconvinced that medical assistance to indigent and financially incapacitated patient or MAIF will not be abused or politicized despite assurances from the Bicameral Conference Committee. Several issues continued to surround the MAIF beyond the guarantee letter, which remains vulnerable to political influence and interference. The program itself reinforces a fragmented and cumbersome system of medical assistance. Patients are forced to navigate multiple government programs, such as MAIF, the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation, the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, each with its own offices, forms and requirements, all demanding proof that patients are destitute and incapable of paying their medicines and hospital bills. The MAIF as a discretionary fund lacks clear rules, accountability mechanism, and transparency standard that define eligibility, benefit levels, or covered services. The absence of structure makes oversight difficult and inequities inevitable, unlike the clearly established benefits under PhilHealth. For these reasons, the MAIF should eventually be phased out, with its funds redirected either to PhilHealth or directly to national and local government hospitals under Department of Health as implementing agency. With the universal health care law and PhilHealth steadily expanding coverage and efficiency, patients should no longer be burdened with bureaucratic processes when seeking treatment. They should be able to go to hospital, focus on recovery, and rely on PhilHealth and UHC for financial protection. The funds now channeled to MAIF would be better utilized if allocated directly to PhilHealth or hospitals. For 2026, however, the Bicameral Conference Committee increased proposed MAIF funding from the House General Appropriations Bill level of 49.16 billion to 51.6 billion, which represents a 113% or 24.4 billion increase from the NEP level of 24.2 billion. Biruin nyo, ang NEP, ang hinihingi lang ng NEP para sa MAIF is 24.2 billion. Ang inapprove ng Kongreso, 51.6. Tang-ina, diba? So, ibibigay nyo ba yun sa mga agencies o ibibigay nyo yun sa mga sarili-sarili ninyo? Yung mga ganitong klase ng amendments from the NEP, I don't think it should be acceptable. Pinopropose ng executive, 24.2 billion lang. Tapos ang ibibigay nyo, 51.6. Paano i-implement nung nag-request ng agency? Paano nila i-implement yan? Hindi naman nila sinama sa program yan. So, yung mga ganito, on its face, questionable to. Kanino mapupunta yung pera? Di malamang doon sa naglagay. Diba? So anyway, those were the point of contention of Kong Ungab. Pork barrel yung excess sa NEP, sabi ni Fernando Guerrero. Agree! Diba? So, to summarize, ang sinasabi ni Kong Ungab dito, yung Bicameral Conference Committee, yung first niya na reason kung bakit siya nag-disagree is first, okay, yung DPWH nang alam. Ang dami yung pinagdadagdag na insertion na wala naman sa too late in the game na kayo nagdagdag ng mga insertion. Yung NIA at DOTR, ang dami pang pinag-i-insert, nasa BICAM levels na tayo. 'Di ba? Hindi nakatanggap-tanggap yung mga pinagsisingit nyo na budget during the BICAM. Second, sabi ni Kong Ungab, yung sa foreign assisted project, 25% lang yung tinira ninyo mula dun sa original na 100 billion na request sa NEP 'Di ba? Okay? Third, yung unprogrammed funds. it remains unquestionable dahil nga, yung mga importanteng project, pinaglalagay nyo sa unprogrammed funds. Pagkatapos, alam nyo kasi yung unprogrammed funds, nagiging way to circumvent the projects, the budget eh. Tapos, ito yung payment of personal benefits nilagay sa unprogrammed funds. Weird to. Hindi ba dapat automatic appropriation yan? Ay, no, pati yung, especially since the miscellaneous benefits fund and personal gratuity fund, sa mga sundalo yan eh. Ba't may ilalagay sa unprogram? So, ibig sabihin yung pera na dapat ma-receive ng mga tao, hindi tayo sigurado kung makukuha nila o hindi. Kasi nasa unprogram funds eh. Nasa unprogram allocation eh. And remember, ang unprogram allocation, before mo ma-release yan, dapat ma-meet mo yung mga certain requirements. Like for example, there should be a budget surplus. So that's the third one. And then the fourth one, sabi ni Kong Ungab, is yung MAIF. Nagdagdag kayo ng bonggang-bongga sa MAIF. Dinoble ninyo, mga putang ina nyo. Pinork barrel nyo ang MAIF, mga putang ina nyo. Okay? Ayan. Okay? So that is Kong Ungab sa position, no? Kung bakit hindi siya nag-sign sa national budget. Si Kong Pulong Duterte, of course, hindi rin siya pumirma, nag-no din siya, at ito ang kanyang sinabi. Sabi ni Kong Pulong, I voted no on the fiscal year 2026 General Appropriations Bill because I cannot, in good conscience, support the budget riddled with unanswered questions, uneven allocation, and questionable insertions. The mastermind behind the corruption of the 2025 budget has not even been jailed yet. Yet here we are again with a new budget in 2026 ready to be plundered. This is not reform. This is repetition. I really like the tone of Kong Pulong here. A national budget should serve the people, not reward impunity. Transparency must come before approval, not after public outrage. How can we restore the people's trust if we repeat the same circus that was done in the last 2025 budget? Ganun na lang ba kababa ganun na lang ba kababa ang tingin natin sa pag-unawa ng mga Pilipino? Wala na ba tayong kabusugan? Kung hindi kayo marunong mahiya, sana naman marunong tayong maawa sa taong bayan. Until accountability is real and the process is clean, I will not legitimize a system that treats public funds as an open jar. As the saying goes, this jar would be filled with cookies, but no one in this house has any self-control. My vote is not against development. It is for transparency, fairness, and responsibility. Let's also go to Kong Rodante Marcoleta. He also voted no. This is the statement of Kong Marcoleta. My no vote is anchored on concrete audit findings, fiscal patterns, and policy distortion surrounding various financial assistance programs or AYUDA. So si Kong Marcoleta, ang kanyang ang problem niya is yung sa AYUDA. Yung number 4 ni Kong Ungab. From the start, I have repeatedly expressed my position on the proliferation of AYUDA programs. No matter how noble our intentions are, Mr. President, the outcomes fall short of what we envision. After years of pouring billions into short-term assistance, the hard truth remains. The lives of our people are not improving. Worse, the number of Filipino families who consider themselves poor continue to rise. The data are unmistakable, Mr. President. The September 2025 Social Weather Station survey revealed that 50% or at least 14.2 million Filipino families consider themselves poor, 1% higher than the 49% previously recorded just 3 months earlier. In 2024, the annual average for self-rated poor families stood at 57%, while in both 2023 and 2022, the average was 48%. Even more alarming, as of November 5, 2025, about 22 Filipino families experienced voluntary hunger, going hungry without nothing to eat at least once in the past 3 months. The highest level recorded since 1998 outside the pandemic. These are lived realities, and they beg the question, if AYUDA is working, why do Filipinos continue to be hungry and poor today? AIX, MAIF, tupad. Samot-sari na ang naimbentong dagdag sa listahan ng mga ayuda. Iba't ibang termino na rin ang nagamit, ngunit patuloy lamang itong naaabuso at nagagamit pampolitika. At hindi ito haka-haka lamang. Ang Commission on Audit na mismo ang nagsabi. Noong 2024 COA Audit Report, binatikos ang 4.157 milyong AIX disbursement, milyong o bilyon, na inalabas kahit kulang ang mga dokumento. Ilang DSWD field offices din ang nag-ulat na mababang utilization rates, non-compliance sa payment schedule at weak validation ng mga beneficiaries, creating serious risk of overestimating targets and improperly screened recipients. COA further reported a duplication between AIX and ACAP following multiple availment by the same beneficiaries, assistance granted to above minimum wage earners and college students, repeated assistance within short periods from different offices, and non-implementation of 168 out of 288 prior audit recommendations. Yet here we are again. Bicameral Conference Committee has fished off a greater budget for ayuda programs, including an additional 4.8 billion for AIX, bringing the total to 63.9 billion, a total of 22.44 billion for Tupad. After Senate had deliberately reduced it to 13 billion on third reading from the House proposal of 21.3 billion. The revival of MAIP at 51.6 billion, despite the Senate's earlier attempt to shift zero balance billing to curb politically mediated medical assistance and push genuine universal health care reform, and the insertion of 10 billion for presidential assistance to farmer and fisher folk, despite its deliberate removal under Senate Committee Report. These four ayuda programs alone, now totaling 147.9 billion, are just among the many other discretionary assistance program. Ayan, okay. So yung kay Kong Marcoleta, ang kino-question niya is yung entire ayuda program, yung 147.9 billion ayuda. Si Kong Ungab, MAIF yung pino-point out niya. MAIF lang. Pero yung kay Kong Marcoleta, the entire ayuda program. The same pattern emerges in the restoration of unprogrammed appropriations. After initial assurances that these standby funds would be scaled back, the Bicameral Committee reversed its course and restored unprogrammed appropriations to 243 billion, even higher than the House-approved level and far above Senate's reduced version of 174.55 billion. This is recklessness. But I stand my ground for the conviction against the chance of possible abuses of the budget. Despite all protective measure instilled in this budget, there is the ever-present danger of loopholes in the wordings that may be exploited. An uncomfortable reminder that safeguards on paper do not always prevent abuse in practice. Matuto na tayo sa mga multo ng kahapon. Huwag na natin bigyan ng pagkakataon na maulit ang mga anomalyang hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa napapanagutan at nagdulot ng puot sa ating mga puso. Ayan. Robin Padilla, I'm not sure kung nag-issue siya ng statement, Senator Robin Padilla. But Senator Robin Padilla also disagreed doon sa 2026 budget.
Malinaw naman po na ako po ay nasa minorya. Kaya kami po, kasama na po si Senator Marcoleta, ay bumoboto ng no sa ratifikasyon ng BICAM report para sa House Bill number 4058 o General Appropriation Bill. Malaki po ang paggalang at tiwala ko sa aking mga kasamaan, ngunit meron lamang po akong mga punto na nais ihayag.
Ayan.
Una po, sa aking pong pagtantya, ay meron pa rin pong mga hindi klarong alokasyon ng pondo, lalong-lalo na po sa ayuda. At ganun din po ang pagiging Manila-centric ng budget. Ngayon po, ang Mindanao ay nakakakuha lamang po ng 15% sa buong budget.
This is why Senator Robin is no matter what they say about Robin Padilla is the voice of Mindanao. Kahit ano sabihin nila kay kay Robin, that is why Robin is not gonna lose any election. He always thinks about Mindanao.
Ikalawa, bagamat naipanalo po natin sa Senado ang kapakanan ng mga katutubo, Ako po ay naniniwala na kulang pa rin ang pondo para sa sektor ng mga katutubong pamayanan na lagi pong pinagmumulan ng kaguluhan, ng rebelyon at terorismo. At panghuli, nitong nakaraang Pasko, Petsa 23, lumabas po ang aligasyon na di umano'y nagkaroon ng insertion ang lahat ng mga senador sa 2025 National Expenditure Program. Ang isyong ito ay naging sentro ng malawakang talakayan at nagdulot ng kawalan ng tiwala ng publiko. Dapat po nating linawin na alinsunod sa ating konstitusyon, ang proseso ng budget ay nagsisimula sa executive. Ang paghahanda ng budget o ang National Expenditure Program, na kilala rin bilang President's Budget, ay kapangyarihan ng Pangulo na ipinagkaloob ng saligang batas. Ang tungkulin at kapangyarihan ng Kongreso na binubuo ng Kamara at Senado sa paggawa ng batas para sa budget ay nagsisimula lamang matapos isubmit ng Pangulo o ng Executive ang NEP sa Kongreso, kasunod ng kanyang State of the Nation Address. Malinaw po na pagdating sa NEP, wala po dapat pangingialam ang legislation, sapagkat ito ay pawang kapangyarihan ng sangay ng Executive. Hindi ko po lubos maunawaan kung paano pong naisama ang aking pangalan sa listahan ng mga di umano'y nagkaroon ng insertion sa pondo ng DPWH sa ilalim ng 2025 NEP o tinatawag ngayong Cabral's List. Ginoong Pangulo, napakasakit po nito sapagkat ako po sa panahon na yon ang presidente ng opposition party na sa kalagitnaan po ng kampanya at eleksyon, ay nailagay po ang aking pangalan dito. Ito po ay napakasakit po para sa akin. Dagdag pa po rito, nariyan pa po ang agam-agam na maaari muling maiuwi sa kategory ng for later release ang malaking bahagi ng budget. Partikular na ang amyendang ating inihain sa bulwagang ito. Halimbawa po, sa ilalim po ng 2025 General Appropriations Act, nagkaroon po ako ng iba't ibang amyenda para sana sa mga proyektong makatutulong sa mga tao at lahat po yun ay nag-umpisa na magmula pa po noong 2023. Sana po, ay hindi na po ito may FLR pero ang balita po, yun daw pong mga hinog, kami po yun, yung oposisyon, yung mga hinog ay mga FLR uli. Kung ganito lang din po ang mangyayari, hindi ba't parang nasasayang lang ang paghihirap at pagsisikap natin sa deliberasyon? Ang FLR ay bahagi ng proseso, pero nagresulta ito ng pagkaantala sa agarang benepisyo para sa mga nangangailangan nating kababayan, lalong-lalo na po yung nag-umpisa ng mga proyekto. Ang deliberasyon at pag-aproba ng pambansang budget ay isang malaking responsibilidad ng legislation na hindi dapat pinababayaan. Huwag sana nating hayaan na ang reputasyon ng Senado at ng buong institusyon ng Kongreso ay masira dahil sa pagkakaroon ng mga aligasyon at kontrobersya. Kung ang mga ito ay hindi tutugunan at itatama, mababaliwala ang maraming buwan, mahahabang araw at gabi na ipinuyat at ginugol ni Senator Win Gatchalian upang busisiin ang budget ng bawat ahensya ng gobyerno. Nais ko din pong kunin ang pagkakataon na ito upang ipahayag ang aking mungkahi para sa 2027 budget upang maiwasan ng anumang iskandalo. Una, marahil ay napapanahon na upang makonsidera ang pag-amyenda ng ating saligang batas. Naway maisang-alang-alang ng ating kasama, Senador Kiko Pangilinan bilang tagapangulo ng Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes, ang pag-update sa mga probisyon ng konstitusyon, lalo na po patungkol sa kapangyarihan ng legislation sa pag-amyenda ng budget. Baka maaring pag-aralan kung nararapat nating alisin ang kapangyarihan ng legislatura na mag-amyenda ng budget dahil nakita nating madali itong maabuso ng mga gahamang nasa pwesto o di kaya'y patibayin ang mga limitasyon sa kapangyarihang ito. Pangalawa, patid ko pong matagal na proseso ang pag-amyenda ng saligang batas dahil sa usapin ng voting jointly at voting separately. Kaya muli, isinusulong ko ang aking panukalang batas, ang Senate Bill 1299 o mahiya namang kayo act na naglalayong ganap ng alisin sa ekwasyon ang panghihimasok ng mga mambabatas sa pagtukoy, pagpopondo at pagpapatupad ng mga proyekto. Dahil po sa mga nabanggit na kadahilanan, ako po ay bumoto ng no sa House Bill number 4058. Hindi po ibig sabihin na baliwala lahat ang hirap ni Senator Gatchalian. Ako po'y saludo sa kanya. Ngunit kailangan pong ibigay ko ang boto na ito para sa taong bayan. Maraming salamat.